Look how nice and fluffy that looks. So this is arroz con gandules. It's a Puerto Rican staple. It's super tasty. It has nice big pieces of pork in it. Best with some turkey or some pernil, but I just eat it like this. Okay. Today we're making arroz con gandules, not exclusive to Christmas, but definitely essential. And it has some pork chops, some ham, tomato sauce, sofrito, you know, really quite simple, not a lot of ingredients, but very tasty. So let's get started. First, I'm gonna cut the ham into tiny cubes. Jamón de cocinar, steak ham, whatever you call it. Sometimes you can find it already cubed. It's usually cheaper to buy the steak and cube it at home. You're also gonna cube these. I love finding big pieces of pork chop in my rice. Leave the fat in. You want the rendered fat in there. You can buy them with or without the bone. Next, you're gonna take the pork chops and the ham, and we're gonna season them. A little bit of adobo. And then we're just gonna set these aside for now. This is something my mom taught me. I don't know if everyone does it, but it's a good way to add more like gandules flavor in. We just use the liquid that's in the can in the rice. Since we're making 2 cups of rice, we're gonna need 2 cups of water. So then you're just gonna top off to the 2 cups with regular water. And then we're ready to cook. You're gonna add a tablespoon or 2 of, it can be olive oil, canola oil, or if you have some achiote oil at home, I highly recommend it. It adds a lot of color and depth to the rice, so that's what I'm gonna use. Now we're gonna drop in the pork chops and the ham. I'm gonna cook these till they're brown. Look how pretty the achiote looks. Really my favorite ingredient. Once these have been cooking for a minute or 2, we're gonna go ahead and add in some sofrito. About 2 tablespoons. This is Puerto Rican sofrito. It has garlic, onion, sweet peppers, recao, cilantro, deliciousness. I'll teach you how to make it one day. Get the colors. We got the green, we got the orange. Smells so good. Okay, this is looking good. We're gonna add in some olives. I'm not a fan of olives. I'm gonna add just like 4, but you can add as many as you want. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of the juice for the brininess to make up for the lack of actual olives. And if you don't like olives at all, don't add any. It's fine. You're gonna add about half a cup of tomato sauce. Look at that. The beginning of a masterpiece. I like adding my gandules at this point so they start getting all the flavors in. Que se sazonen in this soupiness. I didn't add the whole can because it would have been too much. You can also buy gandules in a dry bag and rehydrate them overnight. Sometimes I don't think that far ahead, and sometimes they're not soft enough by the time I need them, so the canned ones are great. We're gonna let that cook there for about 5 minutes, make sure it's flavorful. So in English, gandules is pigeon peas, and I've always thought that's kind of unappetizing. And I googled where the name came from, and a long time ago in Barbados, gandules were used to feed pigeons, and that's literally where the name came from, apparently. Kinda cool. So once the gandules are nice and flavorful, they've been here for a couple minutes, I'm gonna add in the water mixture that we prepared. And then we're just gonna let that boil. We're gonna add in the sazon. This will also add in some color. If you didn't have achiote before, this has some achiote in it. Un cubito de pollo if you have cubitos, or just a teaspoon of chicken bouillon or chicken stock concentrate. And lastly, you're gonna add a couple of pimientos morrones. At this point, while you wait for it to boil, you should do a little taste test. And make sure it doesn't need salt. Usually it's salted enough with all the seasonings and everything you've done to it already, but if it needs salt, now's the time to do it. This is 2 cups of rice, and I've already rinsed this off earlier, so it's nice and clean. We're just gonna dump it in. Once you have around this amount of liquid in the pot, it's good enough to give it a stir. My mom always says from bottom to top. You're gonna take a banana leaf if you have access to one. This one's from the frozen aisle from the supermarket, and they're pretty accessible. And what you're gonna wanna do is cut pieces and cover the rice with them. This adds flavor, and it also helps steam the rice and make it, like, cook it nice and fluffy. And then you lower your heat all the way down. You let it cook for around 20 minutes. My timer just went off. So, for the big reveal, it smells delicious. So you're just gonna take the leaves off carefully. No te quemes. And then with a fork, just look how nice and fluffy that looks. If you feel like there's still too much liquid in here, then put it back in the stove for a couple minutes more until all the liquid is absorbed. I think I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt. That looks so good. Adds nice color. I can't wait to try it. Especially go. I've been hungry, not gonna lie. This is the spot. You wanna try it? I keep spilling it everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
We don't speak language here. No. Only the occasional puñeta. Hopefully you have a nice, like, pernil or turkey to go with it. Or you can just eat it on its own, because it's amazing on its own. I bite my tongue. I'm done. Get out of here.